I guess we can start out. Spring practice goes by. Was there one player that was the most impressive to you throughout that whole process?
I mean, we had several that were impressive, I think. Of the newcomers, I think like Cyrus Allen was probably one of the more impressive guys. He didn't miss a practice. He's 15 practices for 15. And he was one of the guys, when we recruited him, he had an injury on his arm, and I thought maybe he wouldn't be able to go through spring practice. But man, he went through every single one of them. And that's hard for wideouts to do in spring because you're running them like crazy. But he ended up making them all. He was impressive. There were several guys I thought had really good springs. He's one of Harrison, had a really good spring. He stood out, I thought. Very heady football player. McDoom, I thought, did good at corner. So, some of these newcomers is kind of the ones I was looking at because you hadn't seen them yet. You want to see how they perform, and there were some of the guys I thought did pretty good.
Simeon Coleman and Jaquan Saints were two guys that really showed out as freshmen last season. Who were some of the freshmen that you've been impressed with so far?
Yeah, freshmen as far as the new guys that just got here. Gio, a wide receiver. I really like Gio. I thought he had a really good spring as well. He's a serious-minded guy. Like, he don't play around, especially for a freshman. He's very mature and very physical. Blocking, he would try to get his hand on you. He's going to try to pin you as a wide receiver. Like, that's unusual, I think. Strong hands. So he may have been the most impressive freshman that came in the spring that went through everything. It's so hard for those guys. Some young linebackers that came in did some good things, but it's so hard for these young guys to come in and, particularly when, you're first getting there and having to go through everything. They don't even know what's what, big eyes, but Gio, I thought, just from the time we recruited him to the time he started coming out there, I thought he did some really good things. Kamari did some good things at tight end. He was a guy we recruited the whole time. He was 216 pounds, and now he went through spring and he finished up, I think he's around 240. So he put on some great weight, and I thought he looked good, did some good things at tight end position. There's a couple names there, I think, that did some things for us. And you mentioned Saints and Simeon. I think those guys continue to elevate their game. They're going to be even better than last year, I think. Got some great experience last year as true freshmen. So year two for them, will be awesome to have that experience under their belt.
For a guy like Jake Golday, what was the biggest thing you guys kind of emphasized for his growth heading into his senior season after year one to year two in this? I
think
team?
Jake was a guy who just got better each game last year. He got banged up the last couple weeks, but he's an outstanding player. I think he's continuing to get better. He's got a huge upside. Like, I think for him, being able to play multiple positions is big. We worked on that this spring. Not only playing the outside linebacker, but also getting in the box a little bit and playing that. He's fast enough to be able to play the wheel. So just having a little bit more versatility and not just being in one position. I think our linebackers are as deep as anybody out there, and especially in the Big 12. When you think about 6 guys that could probably start at linebacker for us, that's great depth to be able to have. But Golday's certainly one of our more talented players on our whole football team.
Which position group are you counting on the most to have the biggest jump in terms of production this year?
Oh, man, I hope it's wide receiver. We don't know, but we hope it's wide receiver. We got some talent in that room. We got some guys that are hungry and eager to come out and perform. We're banged up a little bit in that room in the spring with some guys. Hopefully we can get them all healthy and be ready to go this fall camp and really get some. Because when you're not healthy and you can't fully understand what they can do good and not, so we got to get them out there and get them healthy to be able to go through practice in August to be able to know what they can do to put them in the roles they need to be in when we start the first game. Because there's a lot of new guys there, So I hope that's the biggest jump is at wide receiver, so we get more explosive plays for the offense. Is what we need to be able to score more points.
Is the defensive line up there as well?
D-line, because we got some guys back. From last year they got injured. Again, we got to stay healthy right there. And then some of the guys we brought in. So there's some depth there. And that's quite honestly the reason we brought some more guys in, because you start getting banged up right there, man. You don't have anybody to go to. So brought some new guys in. That's going to be an interesting position group because there's probably 17 or 18 guys, and you're only playing 3 at a time. So there's a lot of dudes right there. So when they do get an opportunity in practice, you got to make the most of it. So I think the cream will start rising to the top, and hopefully we find 9 or 10 guys that we can put in that rotation and keep those guys fresh up front. But yeah, we brought some guys in with some talent, some guys that have some twitch. So hopefully we'll be able to get after the quarterback.
Speaking of the defensive line, a guy like Micah Coleman comes back after the Achilles injury. How have you seen him progress over this offseason?
I think early in spring he was a little tentative. Anytime you come off an Achilles, you don't really want to push off of that as much. But he's by the end of the spring was a much better. Got more comfortable in it. And I think obviously after this summer we get to August, he'll probably be back to his old self again. He's a guy 6'5". He's got long arms. He presents a different thing for the offense to have to go against with that length. To be able to have him there, that'll be another tool in the toolbox that we need that we didn't have last year, because he's probably our tallest defensive end.
What do you think about Rich Rodriguez joining the conference, and what are your interactions been like with him?
Yeah, Coach Rich Rod, man, it's awesome to have him in the conference. I think he's certainly a character in a lot of ways. Good football coach, though, hard-nosed approach. They're going to run the football. They're going to play physical football. They're going to be nasty and tough, and that's fun. That's fun for me to be able to go compete against that. He brings, he's been in the game for a long time, but I think for him, he's kind of rejuvenated now, coming back to West Virginia to be able to get his thing going. I think he's got as much juice as ever. I'm excited for him to be able to come back and bring that in, because I know he'll bring some intensity into the league that you better be ready to play each and every week when you play those guys.
Now that we're on Back to the Future, Scott Frost also coming back to the conference. What do you think about him coming back to UCF?
Yeah, I think that's cool for him to be able to get another opportunity to get back into, where he had a tremendous amount of success there at UCF. Obviously a really good coach, does things the right way. I think, it's a good fit there at Central Florida. So, I think, man, there's a lot of talent right around Orlando. So you'll be able to recruit at a high level, be able to get players in there. But it'll be fun competing against it, because that's one of our, I think, top rivals in the Big 12 that we get to compete against each and every time. And it's fun. It's fun to compete against those guys. And so this year will be the same. They get to come back to Cincinnati this year, so we're looking forward to that competition.
Offensive line was a strength last year. This year there's a couple more question marks. How big was it to get Gavin back and also bring in two guys like Taryn Tao and Joe Cotton?
Yeah, huge to be able to get those guys in here to add to the mix. We're happy with the guys that came back with Gavin and Deion Buford and Evan Tangenal. Those guys I think are really good players, but to add a couple of those transfer guys in here certainly brings some experience, which we needed, and some size too. Joe's 6'7", and Taryn's probably 325 now. He's a big boy, and it also gives the time for the younger guys to keep developing, because I think they're going to keep coming on too. So hopefully we'll be able to play those guys. We'd love to have a rotation where we're playing at least 8 O-linemen and we're rotating them and keeping them fresh, and you got to need them down the stretch also.
Coach, can it help with the off-season focus when you're starting out with such a big spotlight game that maybe everyone's just a little bit more?
Yeah, I think so. It's not like you're playing an FCS opponent at the start of the season, to where just human nature is going to kick in. I think, man, you're playing a marquee team that everybody recognizes that went to their bowl game for the first time in 10 years, and outstanding quarterback, a lot of talent in the offseason and with the acquisitions they brought in. So and you're playing Thursday night on spotlight game across the country, so it's a great opportunity to go show what the Bearcats are about.
Coach, last year in Vegas, you said the two biggest things you thought from the Big 12 adjustment were depth and then getting worn down in the second half.
Yeah.
Did you find those things to be true in year 2? And do you feel like those should completely be eliminated by year 3?
Well, you like to eliminate them. You don't know. But, yeah, I think that had something to do with it, toward the end of the season last year. And, and in 3 of our games were on the road, in the last 5 weeks. And so – and we played some really good teams, too. I think that had something to do with it as well. You just didn't make enough plays. We were in there all those games other than the K-State game. We were in the other ones. But somehow you got to make the plays. But depth is a huge thing, I think, in this league, particularly when you're playing 9 conference games, and it's a lot of good competition week in and week out. You're going to get guys dinged up. Well, how good is the next guy coming in, that number 2 or the 3? How good are they, or is it a big drop-off? If it is, you're going to be behind. And so for us, I feel like we've helped our depth. We were able to retain the guys that we felt we needed to retain, and then go out and get some good players. So hopefully this year we're in a better situation. And you got to stay healthy too. We lost 2 D linemen last year before the season, and that killed our depth up front, and therefore that just works its way back to the linebackers and the safeties. So I do think that will help us. Also, we've mentioned this earlier, but having Tyson Vite here for the second year in a row defensively will really help us, because now we can do a little bit more things defensively and open it up a little bit more. I think on that side of the ball, predominantly played the same defense last year, every snap. And I think this year we'll be able to have a little bit of some multiple defenses that'll go in, so that'll help.
And as a follow-up to the realignment, I know you weren't with Cincy in the AAC, but the 3 AAC teams, Cincy, UCF, Houston, all successful there. They haven't had a winning season yet. What do you think has caused that? But then you look at SMU from the AAC, and they're in the ACC title game year one.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with, how healthy you are, who you're playing, when you're playing. All those things come into play, I think. I mean, I don't, that's maybe an excuse, but I mean, that's part of it. I also think, like in our situation, you make a coaching change, and the roster's getting shifted. You don't have time to bring guys in. I mean, I don't know the situation at SMU, but it was tough in our situation. And then you're making the jump to the new conference, and it's taking a little bit of time to get that going. And so I also think you want to do it the right way. I think, I think you want to build your team in the correct manner to where, you can have sustained success. I also think money plays a part in that. I don't know how much. It sounds like SMU may have a lot of money. So maybe that helped their situation quite a bit when they jumped in that league as well.
Why is this your best team?
Well, because of the players that we brought back that have great experience in the Big 12. There with a lot of our top playmakers. Our leaders of our team, or these 4 guys, 4 of them are right here today. Some of our best players are your leaders, and I think that's huge as well. And then I think we did a great job in the portal to go out and get positions of need to come in and help our team. And also, I feel like this is the best chemistry we've had since I've been at Cincinnati with the guys in our roster. Connected football team, and so I think for all those reasons, that's our best team.
Coach, you've been coaching for quite some time now. Have you ever seen a guy like Tarantino squat nearly 700 pounds and think, oh, I can still get more out of him?
Yeah, he's a beast. He's, but man, he's fit. Like when he got here, he's fit right in. That's what you want. The guy's hard worker, gritty, nasty. I mean, just like Clifton. I mean, that's what you want. Cincinnati, type person. And we got a bunch of those guys. Like, that's the thing about these guys. Like, we got to kick them out of the weight room. Like Coach Nico is like, man, no, you guys got to go. You guys. You've done enough today. Like we crushed them in June, into May and June, and and if you ask Dante and these guys, he said it's the hardest he's ever had to work. So that's what you want. You want that kind of work ethic on your team, and so I think, man, we're excited about starting practice here in a few weeks, and the fact that we get to do it in our brand new building. That can't go without saying how impressive the building is, and so we've only been here in a couple weeks, but our guys. They don't leave it. Like they come in, they work out in the morning, they just stay all day. I think that's what you want from your football team, because they know they care, they want to be good, and they're putting the work in for that.
The landscape of recruiting continues to change year to year with NIL involved. How do you navigate those waters between a preference on prioritizing the transfer portal versus high school recruiting?
Yeah, for us, we still want to continue to recruit the high school player. We're going to try to sign roughly 20 guys a year in the high school. You're going to have some attrition. As they go in year 2 and 3, and then supplement with the portal guys on the backside of that. So, and then retain. Like retention's our biggest thing we want to do. We want to be able to retain our best players. Like that's the first and foremost. And we want to sign solid high school football players, like really good high school football players. I don't really care about rankings. I know people do, but I don't. Like we care about getting the best players, and then developing those players into be great players. And so, and then again, fill in with the portal guys. And then it's the right portal guys. Like, it's the guys that come in and fit that want to be a part of a team and not just for themselves. And I think we're able to do that the last couple years in the portal. And hopefully we'll be able to see the benefits for that, as we come to the season this year.
Coach, running a story on Brendan Sorsby.
Yep.
What were your first impressions of him and what you think he's meant to this program?
I mean, first impressions were, big, good arm. And then as you get to know him, competitive. He got a great competitive spirit about him. He's always trying to win at everything he does, which I love as a quarterback. Sometimes a little bit too much, but I'd rather be that way than dial that back. But I think for him, he's grown so much in the last year of being at our place. Did not end on a great note last season, but put it upon himself to come in and be the first one in the building this whole off season and last one to leave. And really demanding that from his teammates. And I think that's what you want to see from your quarterback. I'm pumped for him. I'm excited for him to be able to come back out and have an opportunity to showcase what he can do this fall. I think we got some great players surrounding him and a good O-line in front of him. I think he can cut loose and be a great football player and a great leader that I know he is.
Do you feel he's underrated?
Well, I saw a publication that put out, hey, ranking the quarterbacks in the Big 12, and I think he was 9th or something, and I'm like, okay, well, then I started looking at the quarterbacks. Oh, well, that guy's pretty good. Well, he's pretty good. You just go down the list. They're all pretty good. I mean, there's 9 guys that are returning starters in this league, but I do think he can be one of the best ones in this league. I mean, there's some great ones in this league, but I think he can be one of the best ones in this league. He's got to play within himself, and we have to have great surrounding cast, which I think we do. And if everything goes to plan, then he'll at the end of the season, I think he could be one of the top quarterbacks in this league. He's got all the tools. He's got a quick release. He can run. He's strong. He's all the tools. He's competitive. So we just got to put it all together for him.
Defensively, how much of a help is it to have Dante around for a full off season?
Oh yeah, that's awesome. To have him back and to be in a good headspace. Last year this time we didn't even know if he's playing or not. And didn't even really practice in August, and then didn't play the first game. And then gradually put him in the season last year. He's in a great headspace right now. He's comfortable. Aaron Hemler, our trainer, and our doctors did a phenomenal job last year getting him ready to go. And he wants to prove, hey, man, I've got this problem here, but I'm working through it, and I'm ready to go, and I can play at a high level. And I think that's what he's ready to prove as we head into the fall.
Heading into fall camp, obviously with the new indoor practice facility, Cincinnati's tradition of Camp Higher Ground, is there going to be something that changes potentially with instead of the 2 weeks at Higher Ground to maybe 1 week at Higher Ground, 1 week at the indoor practice facility?
I think what we'll do is we're going to start out this year at Camp Higher Ground and probably be the 1 week. And then when we head back, historically we've headed back and then go back out. But we're probably going to come back and just stay at our new facility. It's a tremendous facility, and we put a lot of time, effort, money into this thing, and so we're going to use it. And probably the main reason for that is just the way we can recover during August camp. You got so many modalities in that building that our guys can recover and come back for the next day. And I think that's the most thing that we need to do. I do think that the first week out there is a great time to bond and get away from everything, and let's become a great football team out there for that first week.
Coach, you played ASU last year, beat them. Your take on where they went, where they got after where you beat them, and is it kind of like a good thing for the rest of the conference to see a team that maybe didn't have expectations can achieve something like that?
Yeah, and I know. I think all the coaches have said that anybody feels like any of these teams can win the Big 12. I think it's just that close. Most all these games are going to come down to one play or two plays. A lot of it is where you play them. Are you playing them at night? Or like we played ASU at 12 Eastern? I mean, it's an advantage for us, right? We go to play Colorado and Iowa State. Those guys at late 10 o'clock, 10:30 Eastern. I mean, so that has something to do with it. I don't know if that's written enough, because I do think that is a thing for sure. Like we got to go to Utah this year. I mean, that's going to be probably a late night game, but I think what it proves is that anybody can win. Anybody can win the league. And they were sitting at that point in time. We had the same record. With 5 games left, we're both 5-2, and they go on and get on a hot streak, and ended up winning the league, and they were one of the hottest teams in the country by the end of the season. And so, I think it just shows that we can all do it. We just got to have the right chemistry, and things have to go your way a little bit, and then you can come out on top.
Do you think that amount of parity is always a good thing, or do you see the benefit of having that established dominant team at the top of the conference?
Yeah, I mean, if my team's the established dominant team, I'd rather be that way. If not, parity's good. I think, I've been at that. When I was at App State, our team won it, about 3 or 4 years in a row, and that's always a good thing. But we always went in those seasons thinking, man, anybody can win. So I think parity's good. I think just in college football in general, there's a lot of parity out there. I mean, I think that's a great thing. I think the fans love that. You can tune on any game and you don't know who's going to win. Let's watch the game. Let's get into it. Let's see what's getting ready to happen right here. That just draws fans to the sport. We want to continue to grow the sport, and I think in the Big 12 is as competitive league as there is with some great quarterbacks. So, I think the ratings should be high for the Big 12 this year because of that. Hopefully the first week. I was looking at the first week games. Like there's some good matchups out of conference for this conference. And I think we got a chance to make some really good noise in that first week. If the Big 12 can go handle their business.
You mentioned becoming more explosive at wide receiver, more disciplined on the defensive side in the secondary. How do you feel like you address the weaknesses or opportunities for improvement in the secondary this offseason?
Yeah, I mean, I think we certainly did. I mean, we needed help at corner, so we go out and get Madoom. I think he's been as advertised. We moved Logan Wilson to corner, which gives you a big physical presence out there. A very confident player. Has had a really good spring. And then when I got some safeties, I think to come in and really help, give some depth and or starters really at the safety position. I do think you need some depth there because they do get some injuries. Sanks has battling some injuries, especially that middle, that star position because you're like a linebacker. But, to me, that's the biggest question mark on the team is how's the secondary going to play? Like, how they going to cover, how they going to tackle? Like, to me, that's one thing that if we start the season and those guys are playing pretty good back there, that'll be a good sign for us. And then how well can the wideouts go out and perform? I mean, to me, those are the two big question marks. Like, because we got so many new faces, let's go see what they can do.
Coach, when you got to Cincinnati, the indoor practice facility just started the demolition process and the rebuilding. When you saw the finished product, what was Coach Satterfield's first initial reaction? Yeah, I mean, just in awe of how awesome it is. It's just a great flow. It's a great facility. The way the designers did a phenomenal job with it. The players love the access of how they can go for and about. The cafeteria there is tremendous. The player lounge, they can just go hang out there. We got couches all in the players' lounge. They can just hang out. I mean, their actual locker reclines back. I mean, they put their feet up, and if they got a meeting in 30 minutes, they got time to relax. I don't know. It's phenomenal. The fact that the coaches, you walk out in the hallway or you just look out your window here, you can see some players working, doing something. I mean, I don't know. I love that. It's better than what it looked like on paper. You can actually get to see the final product. It's better than it is in the pictures. And the pictures are awesome, but it's actually better in person.
This might have been a better question for last year's media days, but when you hired Tyson White, were you looking for, was it your preference that someone came in and established the 3-3-5 scheme, or was that more of just hiring the person and the guy who's kind of waiting for it?
I think it's a little bit of a both for me. We'd been a 3-down team, and so that wasn't the end-all be-all, but if it fit that way, great. Well, and then Tyson was from Ohio. He'd been in this league, and their defense had been a top 2 or 3 every year. So for all those reasons, I felt like it was a good fit for us. And he was good. I mean, he helped us out tremendously last year. Our defense got better, I think 6 points per game. Hopefully we can have another jump this year, second year in the system. I think our guys have a better grasp of it. So, but I think for all those reasons, I think it was a great fit. And it has been. And he's different than I am. Like, we're different personalities, which I think that's great. You don't want everybody the same in the building. So it's just been a really good fit for us and our team. And I think, again, we'll continue to get better on that side of the ball.
It seems like as the offensive guy, you're kind of hands-off with that in the defense. Does that get hard ever, or is it easy to relinquish that?
No, I think I've always been that way. I mean, my expertise has been on offense and not on defense, but I do know what gives us problems. So I've always talked to our DC, no matter who it's been over the time, hey, this gives us problems, or do a little bit more of that because that's pretty freaking good. Don't do as much of that because that hadn't been good. We'll go back to the Pitt game last year in the second half. We tried to do some man stuff, and we got exploited a little bit in the fourth quarter, and then we didn't do much of that after that. And I think Coach White was learning a little bit about our personnel early in the season last year too. I mean, that's the only thing that I would do is just kind of a little bit of helping out here or there. But I let them coach, I let them do their thing, and it's worked out well over time. And I know this year will be even better.
Do you feel like he's still learning with so many additions and so many now healthy
I don't think so. I think he's got a really pretty good grasp about who can do what. Now learning the new players, we're learning a little bit of what they can do and can't do, I think. But 15 days in the spring, we got some little bit of work this summer. This August will be really good for us to see, really dial in and hone in. Where do we need to put guys? What positions are they best for us? Because we're still doing a little bit of that. Some moving parts, but at the same time, we want these guys to learn a couple positions anyway. So, I think that'll be what our goals in August will be.
When you look at the running back room, how do you envision Tawi and Evan playing off one another in that split? Because I'm sure that's something people will be curious about.
Yeah, I think, again, Tawi, I thought he had a great spring. He's a beast. I mean, he's got some speed. He's got all the stuff you want. And then Evan, I thought, had an outstanding spring as well. So, it'll pan out the way it needs to pan out, as we go through it. But I anticipate both getting a lot of carries and a lot of action. To me, they got to get the ball in their hands, so we'll find ways to do that. But I think they're both really, really good players. And then, we also got some other backs in that room that are very solid as well. So that's a very competitive room. I feel good about that room. They all had really good summers so far. So I think it remains to be seen how we end up using them. But I do think there are some differences there. It's always close to 220. Evans more 202, 3, 4, right in that range. So with speed, one's power, so I think we're starting to be able to utilize both.
Do you envision the tight end room also being a room that you guys rely on heavily this year with all the depth?
Oh yeah, I feel good about the tight end room. Joe and Gerd, those two guys, and then the two young pups that play. Gavin played last year, but Zahersk will be in a big mix this year. He's had a really good off season as well. He's 255. Our tight end room from the time I got here to right now is the most improved room that we have on the roster. So I'm excited about that room.
Speaking of the tight ends, we asked Joe earlier about the development of Gavin Grover from year 1 to year 2. What have you seen from him in year 1 to year 2?
Just more. He's just more at ease, more poised, has a feel for understand what we're trying to do. Better in the blocking schemes. He's always got good hands. He's a tremendous target, man. He's long, 6'7" with long arms, that can catch everything. So he'll continue to grow and get better and better. But I like where he's at right now. That room is just, they got good personalities. They bounce off each other really well. I think it's been a good mix.
Yeah, there's 9 established returning starters quarterback across this league.
Yep.
Is that kind of an overwhelming? I mean, the guys have put up good numbers. Is that
really good numbers? I heard the commissioner say, we got 9, and then what the rest of the power leagues got 11 total. It's incredible to me. 9 guys coming back with that kind of experience. That's what you want at that position. But you know what? And they're all pretty good. They have their own things they do well. They all can throw it. I know defenses better be ready when you're playing those guys. So yeah, it's going to be very competitive in this league. And I think whichever one of these quarterbacks continue to play the best, obviously will give their team the best chance to win and win the Big 12 this year. You guys good?
Good.